Welcome to British Focus, your go-to channel for the latest political updates and analysis from across the UK. Today, we're diving into a topic that's got everyone talking. Sadiq Khan, the Labour Mayor of London, has once again stirred up controversy with his comments ahead of tomorrow's highly anticipated US inauguration. Known for his divisive rhetoric, Khan is no stranger to criticism, but his recent remarks have sparked a heated response from none other than Priti Patel. This morning, Patel did not hold back as she publicly slammed Khan for overstepping his bounds with his statements on Donald Trump. She also took the opportunity to criticize the Labour Party's overall approach to managing the UK's relationship with the United States, accusing them of undermining a crucial alliance. In today's video, we'll watch and react to this fiery exchange, unpacking every detail and exploring what it means for UK politics and international relations. Don't miss a second of this discussion. If you're as passionate about British politics as we are, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to British Focus, and join our fast-growing community of informed and engaged viewers. Let's dive right in.
Tomorrow, as you were saying earlier on, the issue is the inauguration, the second Trump term. You may not have seen this, but Labour Mayor of London this morning has written in a national newspaper that this heralds the march of fascism. Do you agree with him?
Well, actually, I don't agree with Sadiq Khan, but that's not surprising. There's very little that I agree with the Mayor of London on. I think, first of all, tomorrow is the inauguration of the next President of the United States. I think we have to respect the fact that he has a very significant mandate. The American people voted clearly, categorically for him, his policies, the proposals that he outlined. And it's really not for politicians in other countries to start making disrespectful and disparaging comments about President-elect Trump. At the end of the day, he will announce his policy platform. He has the mandate. He's clear that he wants to bring hope and optimism to the United States. He wants to give the American people a better future. And we should respect that. He has a clear mandate. He wants to bring about change. The American people voted for that. And I can tell you now, where I'm sitting here in Washington, the mood is one of hope and optimism. And people here were tired of conflicts that were taking place in the world, an economy that people felt wasn't working for them. And they're now looking to their new president with a degree of hope and optimism.
What you've summarised there is the America First agenda. America First, I think most of us would think means everybody else second, including the imposition of tariffs on trading partners like us. Does Mr. Trump mean it, or is he bluffing?
Well, look, Trevor, you will not be surprised by my position on this at all. America is a long-standing, deep ally of the United Kingdom, and our two relationships have always been built on mutual respect and trust. Now, my party's not in government, the Labour government, it's down to them now to really forge a strong relationship with President Trump and his new administration. I would argue that, first of all, and I've said this previously, the government should be really advocating, building upon the foundations that we put in place for a trade arrangement, therefore not even entering these discussions around tariffs. Now, President Trump is within his rights to make the statements that he wants around tariffs, sending out clear signals to other countries, but as ever, this is a discussion and a negotiation. It'll be a government-to-government one. And I would really I'd urge Keir Starmer's government to step up to the plate right now, start good, strong, solid negotiations and interactions with the Trump government, rather than making disparaging remarks, as we've just heard from Sadiq Khan and previous remarks that have been made by Labour ministers.
Since the Labour Party came into power in 2024, the United Kingdom has witnessed an unprecedented exodus of millionaires. Over 10,800 high-net-worth individuals left the country in that year alone, marking a dramatic shift in the nation's economic landscape. Destinations like Italy, Switzerland, and the United Arab Emirates have become the new havens for these wealthy individuals, who are seeking refuge from what they perceive as increasingly hostile fiscal policies under Labour's leadership. A key driver behind this mass departure is the government's decision to abolish the non-domiciled tax regime, commonly known as the non-dom system. This long-standing policy allowed individuals who lived in the UK but earned their wealth overseas to avoid paying taxes on income and assets generated outside the country. For decades, the non-dom regime attracted entrepreneurs, investors, and business leaders from around the globe, establishing the UK as a prime destination for wealth and investment. However, Labour's move to scrap this system has triggered widespread concern among the country's wealthiest residents. The new tax changes, set to take effect in April 2025, represent a fundamental shift in the way the UK approaches international wealth. Under the revised system, non-doms will no longer enjoy tax exemptions on foreign earnings. Instead, they will be subject to a residence-based taxation model that includes UK inheritance tax on overseas assets. This dramatic policy shift has sent shockwaves through the financial elite, sparking fears of increased financial burdens and reduced incentives to remain in the UK. These concerns are not without basis. Experts have warned that the changes could significantly undermine the UK's ability to attract and retain wealthy individuals who contribute to the economy through investment, philanthropy, and spending. David Hawkins, a representative from Foreign Investors for Britain, described the government's decision as a monumental act of national self-harm. He argued that the move appears to be ideologically driven rather than based on evidence, and it risks long-term economic consequences for the country. Indeed, a survey conducted by Oxford Economics revealed that nearly two-thirds of non-doms are considering leaving the UK due to the planned reforms. The Office for Budget Responsibility estimates that between 12% and 25% of the 70,000 non-doms currently residing in the UK could choose to relocate once the new rules are implemented. While Chancellor Rachel Reeves has projected that these changes will raise £13 billion over the next 5 years, critics warn that the country could lose up to £1 billion annually in tax revenue due to the departure of wealthy taxpayers. This exodus is already having visible effects. Entrepreneurs and business owners have voiced their frustrations, citing increased taxes and stricter employment laws as significant obstacles to operating in the UK. Charlie Mellins, founder of Pimlico Plumbers, who recently moved to Spain, has been outspoken about the challenges facing British businesses. He stated, "The UK is in trouble. Labour's policies have made it worse, and it's becoming harder to run a business." The departure of wealthy individuals also has broader implications for the UK economy. Beyond the immediate loss of tax revenue, the country faces declining levels of investment, reduced consumer spending, and diminished philanthropic contributions. Moreover, the symbolic loss of Britain's status as a welcoming hub for global wealth could further tarnish its international reputation. As the April 2025 deadline approaches, the UK must grapple with the economic and social consequences of these changes. Will Labour's reforms succeed in creating a fairer tax system, or will they inadvertently drive away the very individuals who play a vital role in the country's prosperity? Only time will tell, but the current trends suggest a challenging road ahead for Britain's economic future. David Hawkins, from Foreign Investors for Britain, has not minced his words when describing the Labour government's fiscal policies. Referring to them as a monumental act of national self-harm, Hawkins has encapsulated the growing concern among the financial elite and international investors about the direction in which the UK is heading. These concerns are far from isolated, as a series of alarming statistics and expert warnings paint a worrying picture for the country's economic future. According to a survey conducted by Oxford Economics, up to 25% of the 70,000 non-domiciled individuals, or non-doms, currently residing in the UK are considering leaving due to the planned tax reforms. These reforms, which include the abolition of the long-standing non-dom tax regime, are set to take effect in April 2025. While the government anticipates raising £13 billion over the next 5 years from these changes, many analysts argue that this projection is overly optimistic. Critics warn that the losses incurred from wealthy individuals leaving the UK could surpass £1 billion annually, wiping out the expected benefits of the reforms. The concerns raised by experts are grounded in the broader implications of the departure of non-doms. These individuals often bring significant investment, create jobs, and contribute to philanthropy, all of which support the UK's economy. Their exodus would not only result in a loss of tax revenue but also reduce spending, investment, and overall economic activity in key sectors. The ripple effects could undermine the UK's long-standing reputation as an attractive destination for global wealth and investment. Charlie Mellins, the founder of Pimlico Plumbers, who has already moved to Spain, has been vocal about the challenges facing British entrepreneurs under Labour's policies. He criticises the combination of higher taxes and stricter employment laws, which, in his view, make running a business in the UK increasingly unfeasible. Mullins remarked, "The UK is in trouble. Labour's policies have made it worse, and it's becoming harder to run a business." His sentiments reflect a growing frustration among business owners and investors who feel that the government's ideological approach is prioritising political goals over economic stability. The planned tax changes, particularly the shift to a residence-based taxation system, have also raised concerns about their long-term impact on the UK's global competitiveness. By subjecting non-DOMs to UK taxes on foreign income and assets, including inheritance tax, the Labour government risks alienating a key demographic that has traditionally seen Britain as a stable and favourable place to live and work. As David Hawkins pointed out, the decision appears to have been driven more by ideology than by sound economic evidence, a critique that is echoed by wealth advisors and financial experts alike. Beyond the financial implications, there are fears that these policies could send the wrong message to international investors. Foreign Investors for Britain, a group representing the interests of international stakeholders, has warned that the abolition of the non-DOM regime without a viable alternative in place risks damaging the UK's attractiveness as a global hub for business and investment. In November, wealth advisors described the decision as monumentally stupid, arguing that it disregards the complexities of the global economy and the importance of competitive tax policies in retaining high-net-worth individuals. Labour's fiscal reforms are undoubtedly aimed at addressing inequality and increasing tax revenues, but the unintended consequences could far outweigh the intended benefits. By driving out wealthy individuals, the government risks creating a vacuum that will be difficult to fill. The exodus of non-DOMs is already being felt, with record numbers of millionaires leaving the UK for destinations like Switzerland, the UAE, and Italy. These departures not only signify a loss of wealth but also raise questions about the UK's ability to retain its status as a global financial powerhouse. As the April 2025 deadline approaches, the pressure is mounting on the Labour government to reassess its approach. Will these changes truly achieve the fairness they promise, or will they ultimately weaken the foundations of the UK's economy? For now, the voices of dissent are growing louder, and the nation waits to see whether Labour's gamble will pay off or prove to be a costly misstep. British millionaires are leaving the UK in record numbers, seeking refuge in destinations that promise stability, lower taxes, and a more favourable economic environment. Cities like Paris, Dubai, Amsterdam, Monaco, Geneva, and Sydney have become hotspots for these high-net-worth individuals, offering not only financial advantages but also a lifestyle that caters to the wealthy elite. For those approaching retirement, the sunny shores of Florida, the Algarve in Portugal, Malta, and the Italian Riviera have emerged as popular choices, blending tax-friendly policies with idyllic surroundings. This mass exodus is not merely a response to rising taxes but is also influenced by broader concerns about the UK's economic and social infrastructure. The London Stock Exchange, once a beacon of financial power, has seen its global relevance decline, raising alarms about the UK's position as a financial hub. Additionally, growing dissatisfaction with the state of the National Health Service and other public systems has further eroded confidence among the wealthy, prompting them to look elsewhere for a better quality of life. Foreign Investors for Britain, a group representing international stakeholders, has been vocal in its criticism of the government's proposed fiscal changes. They have described the decision to abolish the non-DOM tax regime without offering a competitive alternative as a monumentally stupid decision. According to the group, this move sends a damaging signal to both current and potential investors, suggesting that the UK is no longer a welcoming environment for global wealth. Such a shift in perception could have long-term consequences, deterring not only individuals but also businesses from considering the UK as a viable base of operations. The ripple effects of this millionaire exodus are already being felt. With fewer wealthy individuals contributing to the economy, the UK is facing a decline in investments, reduced philanthropic activities, and a loss of consumer spending in sectors that rely heavily on high-net-worth clients. This trend could further exacerbate existing economic challenges, creating a cycle of reduced growth and diminished competitiveness on the global stage. The Labour government's intent behind these reforms is clear: to create a fairer tax system that addresses inequality. However, the execution has raised serious questions about whether the benefits outweigh the potential risks. Critics argue that the departure of the wealthy will not only reduce tax revenue but also undermine the UK's reputation as a global financial powerhouse, a position it has held for decades. With each millionaire who leaves, the UK loses not just a taxpayer but also a source of investment, job creation, and economic stability. As we reflect on these changes, one must ask, is the Labour Party's vision for a fairer society inadvertently driving away the very individuals who contribute the most to its economy? Or is this a necessary step to address systemic inequalities that have persisted for far too long? The answers to these questions are complex, but the consequences of these decisions will shape the UK's economic future for years to come. What are your thoughts on this growing exodus of wealth and its implications for the UK? Do you believe the government's policies will ultimately benefit the country, or are they setting the stage for long-term economic challenges? Let us know in the comments section below. If you found this discussion insightful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to British Focus for more in-depth coverage of the latest political and economic developments. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.